Hello, just making a note of what I was going to say. So yeah, this is video number 3, I think. Just thought I would give you an update. Those who watched the first one, which isn't many, but it's a start, isn't it? So I was talking last time about how I'm trying to organise my mind with my work and my projects and my ideas, because often I have these ideas, have these sort of side projects that I want to achieve within my regular photography work, and it's quite difficult to juggle them, or you become quite passionate about one and you realize actually you're just procrastinating and wasting time. So anyway, I was talking about how I've been doing this, come up with this list idea. Well, I say come up, it's not unique, it's just writing on bits of paper, but I've got them all here, and it means I can visualize what it is I'm wanting to do, and try and prioritize them. One of them was about a project that at the minute I'm calling The Kids Are All Right. I can't remember if the last video I talked about it, but that's the sort of working title. It's an excuse for me to, like, the project is an excuse for me to have a reason for photographing people that isn't paid work. So often, when someone's paying you to do a job, what their needs are, what's driving you to photograph a certain thing or a certain way. That's where your direction's coming from often, albeit people are coming to me to ask for my advice as well and my slant on things. But often you've got these, or I do anyway, have a lot of ideas, and there's not really a reason to do them other than for a personal project or to push my work further, or to get out of my comfort zone. So that's the idea of these personal projects, is to give myself some sort of subject matter, some sort of hook, like a lot of artists do. There's reasons and meanings behind their work, but it's trying not to think too deeply, because I'm not that deep a thinker. But give myself something, a title, a working title that I can then hopefully run with and explore how I can photograph people and portraits, in order to address or satisfy that title. Don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but anyway, so a big thing at the minute in my family, I've got 2 young girls, and one of them is 9. So she's growing up and is being exposed to all the things out there, like seeing older kids with phones and technology and all this stuff. And we're not uh, puritanical parents. We understand that those things are exciting. We have phones and all that, but we're quite conscious that we don't feel it's for us anyway right for her to have those things at the minute. So we've been quite interested in the world of parenting and access to screens and stuff like this. Don't get me wrong, my kids have access to screens, but we try and regulate it. We understand that it can change moods. It can make them feel bored in a way, or when you want to get them outside, or let's go and do this, often they can't be bothered. So we're very conscious about trying to limit that in certain scenarios. So anyway, the whole phone talk is slowly creeping in. Her want to have a phone. When can I have one? Obviously, we don't think that's appropriate for our family and her at the minute. But it got me thinking about how, like, there's a whole world out there that I would have explored when I was a kid. A, because we didn't have phones anyway, to hand, so there was no choice and didn't know any different. But I would be down the field playing football for hours and hours and hours, and coming home late and getting told off, because that's what I enjoyed doing: getting out and about, getting stuck in, playing with your mates, exploring the woods, all this sort of outdoorsy stuff, whether it be sport or just being out with your mates, which obviously is something that's, I think, is a bit lost these days. It's not something you don't see kids out and about on the streets in the same way, just being kids. So anyway, so it got me thinking. You know, child portraits is something I photograph a lot. So it got me thinking about some environmental portraits of children in outdoor environments, exploring the outside, doing activities, doing the things that kids should be doing, and yeah, creating work that hopefully the viewer, people that are looking at it, will resonate with, and and think actually that's what I used to do, or that's how I would like my kids to be more, to be more outdoorsy, and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm waffling a bit about that, but that subject has kind of hooked me a little bit, and it's given me more ideas on, right, how can I explore this? Who could I photograph? Where could I photograph them? So I've put a shout out on my local Facebook group, in my town where I live. Is there anyone whose kids are skateboarders or into skateboarding, which has also sort of transformed into scootering? Because I know a lot of kids do that, but kids that will go to the local skate park ramps and stuff like that, and hang around there, and just enjoy hours of outdoors fun and stuff like that. So I've put a post out there, and the response was amazing. I've got loads of people just saying, look, my kids love doing that sort of thing. They'd love to volunteer for a portrait. I showed some examples of some a BMX shoot I did for Stones magazine, which is a local magazine that I've worked with a few times. It gives a good idea of kind of the approach of the photography anyway. Posted that with it, and I've got a really good response. So I'm hoping to maybe in about a week's time do an initial shoot with maybe 2 or 3 volunteers at that park. One thing is, I don't want to contrive the thing too much. For me, I want there to be a little bit of honesty there. There isn't a case of, it is an organised shoot. I'm inviting people to come along and, stand here, pose here, make it how I've got it in my mind. But equally, it's important to me that that there is an element of truth. So these are people that say, well, actually, my kids love doing that thing. They're always down that park. They're always on that skate ramp. So, it feels like there's an element of honesty in it, and it's not a complete brought together idea. So that's where I'm going to start with it. Hopefully, I'm going to do something in a week. So I don't know. Maybe what I'll do. Maybe this is a good avenue to take these videos. Is maybe I'll take my camera along with me and capture the behind the scenes of that shoot, so you can see how it goes. It's going to be fairly simple. I'm thinking at the minute. A single light to isolate the subject in that environment, keeping the camera quite stepped back, so there is scope to see the landscape or the surroundings. That is obviously important to the idea. So I've had quite a lot of inspiration from a photographer who I can never remember his name, but I follow him on Instagram. His work is amazing. So I'm going to find it, which is going to be fun for the video. His name is Ken Herman, and he does some amazing portraits, very environmental, yet they could almost be posed in a studio. It's always lit with a single light, which obviously pulls out that subject in the environment because you're lighting them, you're exposing them, but equally they're not plucked from that environment and placed in a studio. So it's sort of this juxtaposition of styles, really, which is really cool. It's really cool. So I'll show you. Don't know how well you can see this because I can't see my screen now, but if you're into portraiture, his stuff's amazing. I think he's doing a workshop in Sweden soon, which I had a look at. It's not something I can realistically do, but yeah, it's just amazing. Just really cool, really simple. Don't know if you can see that, but I'll post his links and stuff in the description of this video. So anyway, that's a big inspiration for this work. And whilst, people will say, are you stealing someone else's idea? But I don't think so. Photography's been done so many different ways. There's so much work that is similar. But I think if your approach is honest and it's come from your mind and stuff, it's not copying. It's it's taking inspiration from other people. I've done single light portraits. In fact, I do single light portraits pretty much 90% of the time, because often there's no need for more. There's no need to overcomplicate anything. It gives you real focus, and you can always add to it. You can always add a light, but going in with 5 lights and just wanting to use 5 lights because it's complicated and appears more professional, maybe, is, I don't think it's the right approach. So simple pared down portraits is what we're going to do. It's going to be a little bit rough and ready from a shoot's point of view. There's not going to be big production. It will probably just be myself and the parents and the models, probably for half an hour, capture some pictures, bring them back to the computer, see where we're at, see what I'm liking, and then take the project from there. So that's where I'm at with that. So I just thought I would say that in this video. The other thing is I've finally got the, what's it called, Media Mod pack for my GoPro. So this is actually on my GoPro rather than my phone. Again, I'm experimenting with how I can do these things quickly, fast, with a level of production that doesn't look like it's been filmed on a potato, but something that's just good enough so I can just get my thoughts out there, rant, post it, move on, and yeah, hopefully it looks a bit better, and hopefully it sounds good, because the whole point of the media mod, yeah, is that you can put your external mics into the GoPro, which stupidly you can't do without it, which seems a bit lacking. So hopefully this has worked and it's not silent, which you'll never know, because if it was silent I wouldn't have posted it. So that's it. Right, that's all I've got to say for now. Till next time. Cheers.